What's up, guys? Mark Smith, JBS Training Group. This video is going to be on make ready, how I do it with the rifle, how I do it with the pistol, and why I think it ought to be done that way. So the thing that prompted this was a couple things on the internet that I run across from time to time. Guys coming up getting clicks instead of booms, guys chambers that are half out of battery, bolt carrier groups that are half out of battery, trying to load it, that kind of stuff. So it's basically due to not load the rifle, not making it ready properly. The other side of this is indisputable #1 cause of failure to fire in my class is operator-induced error, failure to load the gun, failure to make ready appropriately, right? We'll go through 2 days of instruction, get to the testing side of it where you can go after patch standards and things like that. And we'll have guys that will tell me, shooter, are you ready? Yeah, got it. Okay, beep, click, oh crap, right? I'm gonna show you a way to never ever have to do that again. And I also think we need to think about this in a world of realistic consequences, right? If you're carrying a gun defensively or plan to use a gun defensively in the protection of innocent life, whether that be professionally or as a responsibly armed citizen, I think that going through these make ready steps, every time you pick up the gun to go do whatever it is you're going to do with it, whether that be concealed carry every day, copper getting on work and sticking a patrol rifle in a rack, whatever it is, I think it would behoove us to have these consistent procedures in place to make sure we don't ever get a problem that we didn't want. So we'll start out real quick just talking about the big gun, the rifle, right? So the way that I'm going to do this before I touch anything, right, I'm going to make sure if I'm using lasers, right, or my laser's still putting out, my battery's dead, what's going on, are all my switches still working, right? Is everything still good to go? Everything's doing what it's supposed to do? Dot brightness, right? Is my dot set to the appropriate brightness for the conditions that I'm in, or the conditions I plan to be in? Get that set up. Make sure that thing's not dead. Make sure it's not all wobbly. If you use iron sights, right, make sure that they haven't fallen off the gun. Make sure they're not all wiggly. Make sure that the big shiny fancy mod light that you bought, right, that you absolutely check torque spec on, is not falling off the gun, right? Things like that. It's good check procedures, man. Check your sling tension, right? Based on what I'm about to do, what I think I'm about to do, is my sling tension at the point that I want it, is it going to work out for me? Things like that. First thing I'm going to do, once I get all that done, is I'm going to lock the bolt to the rear, right? Because this gun was designed to work under its own tensions and its own spring loads, not with me goofing around with it, right? So the reason I lock it to the rear, how many times you ever seen somebody go to load a gun and we ride the slider, we ride the charging handle before we end up with a problem in the chamber, right? That's a thing. Another thing is letting it work under its own tensions and its own spring loads. If there's going to be a failure to load issue, it may present during this process, and I can adjust accordingly, right? I can get rid of that mag, whatever the case is, right? I might get a glimpse into the future if I go ahead and set this up the way the gun's designed to run. So I'm going to do that. Magazine. So I'm going to pull a magazine from a place on my kit, whatever it is you're rocking, that is not my emergency reload. And here's why. Twofold. #1, logic, right? If you're going to pull from your emergency load and then stick that in the gun, load the gun, and then pull from your vest to reload your emergency load or something similar, let's think about the steps involved in that, right? So I got 1, right, 2, 3, 4. Well, what about this? 1, 2. Same exact thing you just did. I just cut the time frame in half, cut the steps in half by not doing that. The other thing is, I have lots of guys that tell me, and I'll say, hey man, I wouldn't load from that pouch if that's your emergency load. Well, I just replace them. Oh, do you, right? Until the moment that they don't, and they go for a reload that's not there, and they grab the air and they say, oh, right? Do you? I'm just telling you what I see, right? When I get this magazine out, I'm gonna feel for the top round on it, right? On a double stack staggered magazine, it's gonna be on one side or the other, okay? This one is on the left. I don't have to look at it, I can feel it. I know that is on the left. I'm gonna stick it in the gun, drop the bolt, right? At that point, I'm gonna pull the magazine back out. I'm gonna feel for the top round. It has now changed sides, it's on the right. Should be no doubt in my mind that this gun has a live cartridge in the chamber, okay? Now, when we reload this thing to get ready to rock, we're going to be now loading against a closed bolt, right, which is going to provide downward tension onto the magazine as I try to insert it. So we can't just leave it in there like that. You're going to pick the gun up and get our thing on. Oh, good Lord, I just failed the JBS Training Group standard. That kind of thing, right? So Instead, a better way is going to be stick it in and try to pull it back out. If you can't pull it back out, you're good to go. Final step, close the dust cover. Okay, the reason I close the dust cover is, once again, twofold. Number one, it's just good practice, man. It keeps crap out of your chamber. Number two, closing a dust cover can indicate to you a problem, right? Anytime I get done doing whatever it is I'm doing, I'm gonna go to shut my dust cover, or on make ready, I'm gonna go to shut my dust cover after the loading process to make sure that I don't have half a casing hanging out of the chamber, something like that. It could save you some grief, right? It's just the way I do it. At this point, I'm ready to rock and roll, right? This gun is loaded. I know it's loaded, and it will not become unloaded until it either runs out of ammo or I make it out of ammo. So that's what I got on the rifle. We'll jump now into the pistol, show you the way I get that done. All right, so now we're working with handguns. It's gonna be almost the exact same kind of ideas, same kind of procedures. First thing I'm gonna do before I do anything is my dot at the brightness level I want it. Is it on? Are my iron sights, if I choose to use them, still on the gun? Is my front sight falling off? Is my rear sight drifted? Is everything where I need it to be, right? That's what I'm looking for with this. At that point, lock slide to the rear, right? Because guns work best under their own tensions on devices, and this might show me something I might need to see, maybe, right? I cannot feel for the top round on this one in the same manner that I did with the rifle mag, because while it is a double stack magazine, it's also a funnel top where you're only gonna get one round no matter how many times you touch it, man, right? So what I'm gonna do, mag in the gun, drop the slide, okay? Once I drop the slide, I assume the chamber is loaded, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I got the magazine 3/4 of the way in, didn't know it, drop the slide on an empty chamber. Maybe I hit the slide release button early on my insertion, drop the slide on an empty chamber, et cetera, et cetera. So at that point, I'm gonna reach up, right? And I'm gonna roll this thing into that lobster claw that the good Lord give me, right? And I'm gonna grab there and pinch back. At that point, I can reach in and feel there is a bullet in that chamber, good to go. An empty chamber feels drastically different than a live one, okay? Once I get that good to hook, I'm just gonna pop the rear of it, make sure she's in battery. Guys, understand, this is the way that I do this stuff. This is not the way, it's just simply a way. And it's worked out good for me. It's worked out good for me. It keeps me from, it mitigates that click instead of boom moment. I think that when that happens, a lot of guys, they'll chuckle about it and they'll clown it, you know, ha ha, ha, look, what a dummy, you know, that kind of thing. I got it. But if you know me and you've been on the line with me and you've seen it happen to me, you'll know that you won't see me laugh, because I don't think it's funny. I think it's a failure of my first safety rule, which is knowing the status of your weapon. Do with it what you want. These techniques work in the dark. They work when we can't see the gun. If I can only feel the gun. So works out good for me. Do what you want with it, man. Appreciate you guys. Mark Smith, jbstraininggroup.com, JBS_training group on Instagram, JBS Training Group on Facebook. If you want to host a class, man, hit me up. I'll come anywhere. All I need is a host and a range. Appreciate y'all, man. Have a good day.